Good evening, and once again, good evening, and welcome to Energy in Motion. I am so excited to see you. I know you're excited to see me too. It's been too long. But we wanted to welcome you back to this show because I am ready to lay it all out with my group of friends and talk about this topic. Before we get to this topic, though, I want to remind you as to why you are even here. This show is completely based on the opportunity for you to be able to unpack that very, very big box of feelings that you carry around all the time. We all have been socialized to feel like feelings aren't as important as what we do and actions, but our feelings are what lead those actions. And so with you checking in here, you are already setting yourself up for success the rest of the week. So thank you for doing that for you, and thank you for doing this for me too. And so without any further ado, I would like to introduce my awesome group of guests this evening. Each of them I go way back with, so this is going to be a very ridiculous conversation. I hope you are very ready for that. I don't even know if I am, but I'm prepared to be little mad and big mad during this conversation. So without any further ado, I would like to introduce my lovely friend, Sir Dame Amina.
Hello.
Speaking to the people, awesome artist, awesome woman. She will let you know at the end of the show where you can check out her work. I'd love to introduce my beautiful friend, Glenda.
Peace and greetings. Hello.
Oh, she's a natural. Why you just gonna steal the show like that, Glenda? With the stripes on. And then, of course, let me introduce Bae, Chels.
Salutations and good grace and things that Glenda would say.
Oh, God. It's already spiraling. Okay.
We'll get there.
So, as always, I want to remind you that if you are already thinking about how can I tell them a question that I have or a thought that I had and I should have been a part of this conversation, you should be following us on Instagram. So that is the number 3, the letter N, and the word motion. That is 3NMOTION. Honestly, I have to confess this, I spelled it wrong last time. Just in case y'all think that I didn't catch that, I watched my videos back and I did, and I'm ashamed. Anyways, tonight we are going to be talking about being big mad. Not little mad, not middle mad, big mad. I want us to go around and define, what do you consider being big mad? Before I go through my usual nerdy list of definitions, what do y'all consider being big mad?
That it's that feeling in your belly when certain people speak or move or just people's existence. It irritates you, and it's like, why are you so mad? Like, why are you so mad?
Yeah.
Like, your belly burning, man?
You know,
Belly burn.
Yeah, that's how you know.
You got heartburn, palpitations?
Yeah, you causing physical
Arrhythmia?
distress at this point? You that mad? That's big mad.
Okay, I like that. Glenda, what you think about big mad?
Driven by emotion. Driven by emotion, letting the emotions get the better of you to the point where you're reacting and acting.
Okay. So the feeling literally carries a momentum into movement.
Moves you to anger, moves you to some emotional place where you kind of just lost it.
Jesus, okay. Chels?
You were talking about how there's no little or medium mad, but I think big mad is a spectrum.
Oh, there is, but tonight we're talking about big mad.
Right, but big mad itself is a blanket of a spectrum of madness. And so honestly, when I say it, it's normally somebody who's just like Amina saying, like, peeved that you exist. And so when
I don't like how you
think of
breathe.
Big mad, I don't like how you breathe. And so
Weird.
all the way to, the white woman at Apple Care. She big mad as well.
At Apple Care specifically.
Yeah. I called Apple Care and they said blank, big mad.
And that Karen is big mad. Okay.
Karen is always big mad.
So we feel bad for Karen, but hopefully she's tuning in so that she can be consoled and know that she's not alone.
Right.
Find healing.
You feel what you feel. You deserve to heal.
And you deserve to heal. Oh, you say it so good. Oh, she says it so good. So I obviously, as usual, I pulled up different definitions because in the midst of big mad, to break that down, we are going to be talking about jealousy, envy, and comparing ourselves to others. That's the direction we're taking big mad. Big mad is a lot broader than that. You can be big mad because somebody cut you off on the highway. You're not jealous, envious, or comparing yourself to them. You're just annoyed. But this specific definition, which I pulled from our beloved Urban Dictionary, I don't know if y'all actually go on there. There's some foolishness and some fucking.
The examples at the bottom are the best part.
They're the best part.
The whole story of the example.
And I don't go on there often, but when I do, I'm tickled and I cackle. I cackle like an old woman. So Urban Dictionary says the definition of being big mad is being mad as fuck about something, intentionally annoying someone else. You
so
know?
retaliatory.
Essentially, like I'm mad about it, and I need people to know.
Yeah.
Big mad is something
big mad
that you
ain't
can't
silent.
keep to your.
You
Big mad
share
ain't
this-
silent.
yeah.
Big mad
Okay.
you do not keep to yourself. And oftentimes when you're experiencing jealousy, envy, or comparing yourself to others, you probably are with your group of friends talking about other people, talking mess. So I want us to kind of break down the other definition. So in this umbrella of big mad, if we're talking about envy, the definition of envy is desire to have a quality, possession, or other desirable attribute belonging to someone else. If we define jealousy, it is as a feeling of anger or bitterness at the thought of someone trying to take a possession or person away that you feel entitled to. So kind of to break down the difference, because you have the right to define it or talk about it however you feel. Envy is wanting what someone else has. Jealousy is being insecure about losing something you already have. So envy is she has that, they have that, I want that, why don't I get to have that? Jealousy is I have this, don't look at it. Don't notice it. Don't try. It's mine. Mine. My best friend. My man. My woman. All this. My job. All these different like possessive things. I'm working on it, and I'm not a little mad, not big mad. Okay. All right. So on a scale from 1 to 10, let's go around. Rate your jealousy level. Scale from 1 to 10, where you subjectively consider yourself. 10 being, if someone looks at my person longer than
I was gonna ask what
10
context.
seconds, whatever you want to define it as. So when you give your scaled number, tell us what you were thinking when you gave that number. So I'll start because I know I sprung it on you. I would say that jealousy level, I would be at about a 5. I would say I'm a fair 5. Oh, I like that alliteration. No, a fair 5 just because I do get jealous, but I'm reasonable with my jealousy. So when I feel the jealousy, I'm aware, I'm like, there's not a cause for this. It's not valid. It's not fair for me to feel this. It's not necessary, but I feel it.
Question: are we rating how often we feel jealous, or the level of our
The
jealousy?
level of
we
what
do
you
feel?
experience.
Just like on
not
a
how often,
Okay.
the level of it.
Okay.
We'll get to frequency.
How frequent? Got you.
Okay, so I'm a 5. And I'm thinking of it mainly in the mindset of, usually when I experience jealousy, it's either in friendships or relationships. So I'm a 5 because if I'm with my friends and one of my best friends, and this is mainly back in the day, but my best friend was paying too much attention to someone else, I'd be like, okay, she has a right to have other friends. That's normal.
But not really.
But that's how I feel. I feel like, why?
Right.
Why am I not enough? You know? But I'm rational that I'm like, but it's not about me being enough. She has other friends who have other interests. I don't have to be everything to everybody. And that's how I'm a 5.
Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna say an all around 6.
Okay.
Just because this is based on like, and I said my examples were gonna come towards like family
Yeah.
relationships a bit and friends a lot, but like it's like more so family stuff. But then also realizing like I've always like judged myself as a 6. Like I mean I'm not like average, but like
Yeah, I'm
slightly
above, you know.
But I think that's my big mad like insecure self being like, this bitch, you just stay at a 6. So, like,
Just know your place.
Safe.
yeah.
Safe
yeah.
6.
And no one's going to come
Safe
for you at
6.
6.
No,
Yeah.
It's not too much, but it's not a lot.
Under
That's
the
fair.
radar,
Yeah,
just a little.
I'm
yeah,
gonna come at you.
Just enough to be like this.
With a little t-shirt.
Yeah.
Okay, safe 6. Fair 5, safe 6. What we got?
I'm gonna say 1 to 2.
I believe that.
I just, and as we get into it, we'll talk more because that's just a progression.
Yes,
of where I
okay.
am
Growth.
currently. Growth.
Growth.
Yes, because it used to be higher, but now, and it's not an indifferent type of feeling. It's not indifferent, and I'm thinking friendships mainly when they come to mind because it used to be the same thing, like you're my friend,
Mm-hmm.
like, and nobody else. Is.
Yeah.
But I'm growing.
I don't mind being pulled.
Strong.
I appreciate it.
With a strong arm.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay, so a 1 to 2.
Safe 1 to 2.
Safe 1 to 2.
Do we have a word for it?
What, you don't have to. It just happened that way with us.
Yes.
What you do? 1 to 2.
What you do 1 to 2.
I don't know.
How you grew 1 to 2.
Boom.
That's why they pay me the big bucks. Yes.
Big
Okay.
bucks over here. I would, to keep with the alliteration, I would be a teensy 2. And so I also think that I'm a 2 as well, and that did come with growth. Previously, I was probably like an 8, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
We haven't talked about that.
I used to be really insecure about feeling special. And so if my friend got a new friend, I no longer felt special almost immediately. Even if we were all hanging out together, if she got a hug, I need a hug.
Even if I hugged you earlier, I need you to hug me in front of her.
Her hug is better.
Talk hug.
Better. It's like my hug.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
All right. So as y'all can see, there's a spectrum. So no matter where y'all land on the spectrum, some of y'all listening are like, oh no, I'm still at an 8. And that's okay. That's okay. That's where you at. And you get to decide if you stay at an 8 or not. It's completely up to you. But this conversation is going to be completely curved in the direction of growth. We are trying to lower those numbers on the spectrum. We are not trying to validate and keep them high because that's hurting you. That's burdening you. And this conversation is for us to be honest and transparent about how we have experienced these things, how you are not alone in feeling these things, because we're not alone. Luckily, we have each other, but so that you know you have us too. So definitely please talk to your own group of friends about this too. Message us on EnergyNMotion on Instagram about this, but we about to dive into this. All right. So I asked all of y'all to come up with your own questions because I don't want to do interviews. I want to just have a conversation. But I will start it off. What's a memorable experience of feeling big mad from your childhood? When do you what's your first memory of being like, I'm jealous or I'm envious of a friend or a sibling or a person you fancied? God, I sound old. A person you fancied.
That's a good
A gentleman caller.
A gentleman caller. A beau.
I did like to say beau. I will start. I was very jealous, and see the thing is, when you were talking about the definitions of jealous and envy, I conflated the two. And so
most of us do.
Yeah, and so when I found out, I've been more envious than I actually have been jealous, because I more want something that you have, rather than the fear of losing something. Because I didn't feel like I had nothing. So I always wanted.
Yeah.
And so I was more envious of my sister. I thought she was the coolest thing since sliced bread. Like, she just was so cool, and she had friends, and everybody liked her, and I just wanted that. I so wanted what I saw in her. And also, I lived a lot vicariously through television, and so TV was my friend. Those people, I knew those people. We
go way back.
Way back. And so, like,
to the first episode.
Like Degrassi,
don't talk about it.
That deep. I would watch those for hours. And I would watch YouTube of them, like old episodes that weren't airing.
Behind
that
the
was
scenes,
before streaming. And so I would just find old stuff and catch up. And so I felt like I was very envious of this life that I felt like was so perfect. And I was like, why isn't this my life?
Yeah.
And so that was probably my first true, like, diving deep into envy and things like that.
Yeah, that's real. That's real.
I think mine is very similar to that, just because, like, it was with my brother being the first, because we're very close in age. Like, he's younger, but, like, only by, like, a year. So often we're raised, like, as twins. And being as though, like my journey with, like, gender is kind of weird and, like, transforming. So, like, wanting to be able to do the things that he's doing, like going fishing or like
those are boy things.
Yeah, and it's like I don't want to be in the kitchen. No, like I mean I can cook, like, and that's cool. Like, I love my mom.
Yeah, I love being able to cook, but
but like I want to shoot stuff. Like I want, wanting to do things or like.
Did you grow up or were you put into those gender roles? Like, okay, you're a girl, so this is what you're gonna do.
Absolutely.
And your brother can do these things because he's a boy.
Yeah, for sure. Like on my mom's side, like the oldest daughter, and then like just like my mom's oldest daughter. So like like always in that. And being the girl and like doing the dress up and the girly girl stuff, which was cool. Like I'm not doubting it because I play both roles well, but it's just not being able to play in that role and then him being seen as like, because he is very like talented, but then like given certain opportunities where it's like, I mean, if I was given a like keyboard, I could play piano.
Right.
Like,
but also being the oldest girl,
no, it's for them.
That comes with a lot of expectation from your mama.
Yeah.
She probably had a lot of ideas of what you should be before you even got to decide what you look like.
Still. But then, I mean, and I know we'll come back to it, but it all stems back to like me. So like what I realize a lot of is like, okay, well, if you wanted to be good at teaching yourself how to play piano, you would do it because that's what he does. You know what I mean? Like if you're envious of something, then it's like, well, what is that that, and then why are you envious of that?
When
But-
you do it yourself.
yeah, because it's like, well, he picks up music well, and it's like, well, if you would try, you would too, and it's like, oh right, I don't want to do that.
Oh, yeah,
okay,
that
cool.
part.
And
I
then
don't
it
wanna
gets
do that.
absolved. Yeah, you know, but
Yeah.
same. It's like it started with like my brother, just because we were just like right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear that. How about you?
I'm the youngest, so I'm the baby. So I think my sisters having first toys, best toys, that's where,
Those hand-me-downs.
yeah.
Yeah.
With everything. I remember one Christmas, Star Wars, right?
Oh.
Ewoks. And it was Christmas time, and we're opening, we're rushing, you know, break of dawn, staying up all night, about to run to the tree,
Yeah,
get the
yeah.
presents, you know. And my sisters were opening their gift, and my oldest sister got an Ewok, a gray one, and my middle sister got an Ewok, a brown one. Where's Glenda's Ewok?
Where's my Ewok at?
Yeah.
She still ain't over there yet.
I mean, see,
No,
it's a little
I'm
bit-
still waiting
it's a
for
little
it.
bit of
It's a little pain in her voice. I hear
My
it.
heart.
Glenda's family, please no. She's still
She
open
wants
to
an
it
Ewok.
this Christmas, 2019. Ewoks. Yes.
So I got a little bear, but it wasn't an Ewok.
That's
That's
mean.
So I think in those instances, being the youngest and my sisters, that my older sisters got things that I didn't get, that's where I think envy came in. Like,
That's real.
I want it.
Yeah.
Why don't I get to have it?
Yeah.
And then it leads to the question of why not me?
Right.
And I think envy is mainly that question. I think that's the question you deep down all ask someone. It's like, why not me? Why
That
don't I have
entitlement
that?
is very tied to it. So it's interesting that you brought that up because I think entitlement is tied to like, I deserve to have this. Why can't I have this? I should have this.
But that's beautiful too. That excites me that we instinctually have that. Like sometimes I talk to people who feel entitled and I'm like, you have no right. You have no right. But then I think about my own beliefs about people and I feel everybody is entitled to whatever you're willing to work for.
Oh, I agree.
And that's what the envy part comes in. We're envious is in, why shouldn't I have that? And the thing is, there's no reason you shouldn't.
Right.
There's no reason you
You
shouldn't.
can't pick
Exactly.
a piano.
But
You could.
What are
at
you
any
gonna do
point.
about it?
Exactly.
It's almost
Be
like
big
the-
mad or go ahead and
Or be
Or
little
do
bad.
something
Right.
about
Or do
that.
something about
Or
it.
do something.
Yeah, it's almost like the why not me can be a real question for you. Instead of being a victim of the why not me,
Yeah.
really question why don't you? And
Yeah.
maybe not the Ewok. I mean, you can't get your own Ewok when you're
Out of your
5.
control.
Yeah.
But as an
It's
adult
up to you.
being envious, if you actually are envious something, when you ask the why not me, actually dive into why you don't have that yet,
Yeah.
or why they're in that position and you're not. Be
Right.
honest about yourself about what they've done to get it and what you haven't done to deserve it. Or
Yeah.
not deserve, maybe that's not the best word, but to
Attain it.
But to
attain
receive.
it. Exactly.
Yes,
Yeah.
But there's, I
absolutely.
feel like also like a lot of like work that needs to be done for people as far as like childhood healing, because a lot of that is still rooted in like, okay, well, why not me then? Like, well, I was never worthy and it started from here. It's like, well, no,
You got stuff
there
there.
were certain things that are out of your control, and like being able to identify like, well, I couldn't control that, I couldn't afford this, or they couldn't get to of,
Right.
so they chose well, who was more interested in X, Y, Z,
And then you
all
have a
of
place
this.
of value now.
Yeah.
Then you have,
Yeah.
Okay, I value myself, or I'm not worthy, or I'm not good enough
Yeah.
to receive X, Y,
And
Z.
then understanding it's like, oh, well, because of these examples, that's where that stems from. Cool. Well, that was out of my control. Let that be there. And then where are we stepping from here?
But
'Cause-
all of that takes conscious processing, which is
Yes.
not a tool that we
Yes.
teach our students or our kids or our family members how to do. We just assume like, oh, take care of your feelings. How?
What does that even mean?
What does
Yeah.
it mean?
Right.
You know, get out of your feelings. How?
if you can't even identify what the feelings are, it's like out of
Right.
which feelings?
Out of
'Cause
which
I
one?
don't even
I'm
know,
just
like,
overwhelmed
I
right
don't even
now.
Yeah.
understand why I
exactly.
feel this way, or even where it comes from or derives from.
You were
So
given
how
no
do I
space to even understand that.
That's
Yeah.
it. How do I
Absolutely.
process it?
I would say my experience, my most memorable early experience, I'm sure it wasn't the first one, because I'm sure I was jealous of my brother, because my brother has always been super, super sweet. He was a great kid. He's a great man now, but he was a great kid. And it's not that I wasn't great, but he seemed to try and succeed at being kind and sweet and obedient and well-mannered. And I just was very annoyed that naturally was how he felt about things. I was like, you don't have any like anarchy in you. You don't have any like fight against it. You don't got none of that. You know,
That's
no.
the best face you've ever made in your life. I need a screenshot.
No,
of that.
I'm mad about it. Get out of here.
Oh God.
You gave mad a little.
Oh no.
You know, I'm medium mad about it.
We'll
It's a
talk about
spectrum.
this later.
We'll talk about it later. But no, I really was. I was just like, I know I experienced that with him, but I don't consider that jealousy or envy, even though it would be categorized as that. The first memory I really experienced, I was in a group called 4-H because I was homeschooled. I think that comes up every episode. It impacted me. So it was a group called 4-H, and there was a guy, Mark Harper, if you're listening, I still think of you. So it was a guy named Mark Harper, and I was like 8, and it was like Valentine's, and I had created this amazing, beautiful Valentine cards. I had worked on it at one group at 4-H that we were doing. I took it home, finished it, and then brought it back. I cared that much. I prepared. I worked on it early. And I saw him working on one too. So of course, in my childlike mind, I'm like, we're about to exchange.
It's about to be
It's about to go down. I'm about to get married, y'all. Like, y'all don't even know. 8 years old. I was so excited. And literally there was a girl sitting right next to me. He walked over, and y'all already know what's about to happen. He comes over, and I'm like, you know, the music is happening in slow motion. I'm like, and he literally comes right here, and he's like, Molly, will you be my Valentine?
Not Molly.
Damn, Molly.
Nah,
Was she white?
Molly with the.
Who you know, Molly, who ain't white? What Molly you know?
Insecure.
That's the only one. That's the first Molly. That's the first Molly. I will give you that.
I got one. You asked for one. I gave you.
You gave me one. That's the only one you had to. That's well played. Well played. Dilly.
That's all you need.
However, that's the first black Molly I've ever met. Y'all can message me and tell me if it's different. If your name is Molly, no offense, and you black, I believe you. But this Molly.
What is Molly short for?
Molly.
Molly. That's all you get. What could it be?
Martha.
I'm really
Melinda?
trying.
Mulligan.
Molly
Wop.
Mulligans.
No, but he gave his Valentine to Molly. And he held a whole conversation with me afterwards. Oh. So I couldn't like run and cry. I literally had to sit there. He was like, hey, did you do this project? Da 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 da. And I'm like, uh-huh. Mm-hmm. And she's over here like, oh, this is so pretty. This is so, oh, you thought of that? You remember that? And I'm like, mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Okay, Mark. All right. And so I literally bawled mine up. I remember it was like a TV scene of I looked at my hand and I crumbled it, and that was it. And that was the first thing I really oh yeah, I broke my own heart when Mark did it to me first. And so yeah, that's my first memory. And so not first memory in life, but first memory in jealousy and envy and being truly big mad. Also because I couldn't leave and feel all the feelings, so I had to like hide the feelings. I had to save face, and that's always been really uncomfortable for me. I prefer to just feel my feelings in general. So yeah, it was a dark time. Yeah, thank you.
That's such a story.
Yeah, we're all affected.
Yeah, that hurt.
I've gotten over it, Mark. I'm ready to forgive, but you took a toll on me.
Was it with a K or a C?
It was with a K. I saw pictures on Facebook, not that I, look him up or anything, but I saw pictures on Facebook. He's a fine sergeant in some branch of something. He looks good in uniform. No one cares. Anyways, so
that Molly hasn't called though.
Taking advantage of him, so it's okay. You get the less love.
So my following question, and I love that y'all had questions in between. My following question is, how has envy shown its face in your friendships or maybe even like your work career? So when you are making friends, best friends throughout middle school, high school, college, how did you experience envy in those situations?
That's so interesting.
Oh, y'all look like y'all cringe. Okay. That's beautiful. Yes.
Well, so we grew up like homeless, so like wasn't really allowed or often like able to hang out with people outside of like school. So my only opportunities to be around other people at that time outside of my brother, who's, the musical prodigy of my father, but is around people. And I'm a good student, so, teacher's pet. So like that was my only thing. Mm-hmm. And then like
you were the brain.
Yeah. And then college happened.
Yes.
I've never like been around like so many like other black women to that capacity, and I feel like that was the first time like really where it was like, oh my god, like I can't like I'm gonna go ahead and tap out of this one, just because it was just a lot. And then just seeing how many like different opportunities people had prior to coming here. So for me, it's like, oh my god, college, what? And then it's like this, oh, so you've been taking art classes. Oh, so y'all did that in middle school. Oh my god, no, I've never done any. I don't even know what you mean. What does context mean? I don't even know. I'm so confused. Like that was a lot. And so like being this like, oh, well, I have the art, and then it's like I don't really have the art, and it's like, oh my god, okay, well, like I'm black, and it's like, ooh, but not black enough. And it's like this, well, I'm gay, but can't be gay loud. And it's like this, well, am I gay enough? I don't know what's happening. Wow. Yeah. It was a lot of that where it's like.
Covert gay.
Yeah. Oh my God, the most covert. Like the secret, like hide behind. I've been hiding and kissing girls for forever. But it's like. Forever, never. But look, out here proud now. But a lot of that. So college, I feel like, was my first, like, really with friends, like, being compared. Because it's like, grades really weren't it, and you learn that in school. It's like, it's not about grades. How do you network? And it's like my social currency was like negative. So
like that.
It was, but that was a lot. So like, you know, meeting other women and then joining a sorority where it's like, okay, well then like this will be the thing. And it's like, damn, y'all still like, oh my God,
still not the thing.
It's like this. I just feel fully insecure right now. So it was a lot. It was.
So you started comparing yourself
to everybody, but it was like every time I felt like it's like, you know what, this is what makes me me. It's like, oh, so everyone does that too. Okay, cool. Okay. Oh, well, you know what? I'm gonna do the one earring like Janet. Oh, so you all do it. Okay.
Yeah. And then you meet someone who owns it. So you're doing it, but you're doing it like, oh, I'm doing it right.
Yeah.
You're doing it like it's a question, and you meet people who do it like an exclamation mark, and it's like,
that was different. It was new because it's like I didn't know that you. Oh, so we can do this like proud. No, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True story.
Yeah.
Okay. I hear that. Yeah.
I think mine would manifest in me kind of pulling away from any of that. And so if I was in a room where I felt that I was inadequate, I would remove myself. And so if it often, honestly, I didn't do much. I didn't go out much beyond my little sphere of comfort. And so anytime I felt a certain way, I would kind of just like slowly make sure that I wasn't noticed. And so that's how it manifested now, or previously. But now being a 2, I just say it. And so if I feel that I'm not privy, or if I'm not, educated in this, I say, I don't know anything about it. Tell me about it.
Yes.
And so I always try to take anything that I would want and I feel someone else has as a time to learn about how they got it and see if I can implement that in any way.
An opportunity for growth.
Yeah. And so I think it's interesting at work now, there's a lot of people who pretend that they're not ignorant of some fact or that they knew that already. And I was like, but you didn't.
We know you didn't.
We know you
didn't.
Not even. And so for you to be adamantly saying that you did, it's like, or they'll we'll be talking for 30 minutes, and by the end of it, they're saying what I said earlier as if they said it.
Oh my God.
And the thing is,
that makes me big man.
Everybody else in the room know it, so I just let it go. I'm like, you know what? That's a really good idea. And so I'm kind of facetious with it. But yeah, if there's any time where I do not know something, I first say, I don't know this. And then go on from there. And I think it allows for a more honest conversation. And it allows me to actually learn instead of still being stuck in that place of not knowing or not having.
But that's the thing though, because we're always trying to keep up appearances, right? And so everybody's in saving face. Everyone's trying to make sure no one knows that I don't know. So the second that you tell people you don't know, you take all that power back. And it's like, I don't know. Tell me about it though. And then they get the opportunity to show if they really know about it or not. Because I've said that before. I was like, I don't know anything about that. Tell me about it. And they're like, honestly, I don't either. Okay, boom. Let's be honest about it then. Let's talk about it.
And then if they do know, it gives them people, no matter what they say, love talking about what they love talking about.
They do.
They love talking about, maybe not themselves, but if they feel very confident in something, they love talking about it.
Absolutely.
And so it's almost like a stroking of their ego to be like, oh, I would love to know more. I know nothing about this.
Yeah, and I'm going to trust you to tell me about it.
Exactly. And they'll tell you, and honestly, sometimes I'll even pretend I don't know something I do know, because I often do gain new information that I may not have known by saying, oh yeah, I already know that. Yeah. I'll say, I kind of, I've heard a little bit about that. Can you tell me more? And I always glean further information from that.
Yeah.
It's always important to be honest with yourself first.
Yeah.
first and foremost.
But most of the time, aren't we lying to ourselves though?
Yeah.
That's all we
You
get.
gotta
But
get to that first.
But Chelsea was right about it being an ego thing. Like you said, it's like being the smartest person of the room. It's like, oh, well, then that's going to be an attention thing, or you get something from that, rather than just like letting people share their talents and their interests with you.
Right.
Check your ego.
Exactly.
Check
Yeah.
your ego.
Oh,
At the
the
doubt.
ego.
I mean,
But then, so let's talk about ego real quick, because that's
Big, it's driven.
Oh, it's so much. And so there are mixed ideas about the ego, right? Some people are like, I need to shed my ego. I'm looking to have an ego death. On the spiritual journeys that I've been on and the conversations I've had with a lot of different hippie people in different corners of the world, a lot of them are talking about, oh, I need to shed it. I've gotten to a point where I don't feel the need to shed my ego. I think it does serve a purpose, almost like my body as a human being serves a purpose. That's not all of what I am, but it plays a part in how I get to function. And so I think there's a place for the ego, but a lot of us don't know how to check it. And so people are like, check your ego. People don't know how to do that. The ego runs rampant. But it was developed to help you navigate. But if you can almost sculpt it to help you navigate where you are right now. So maybe you were an 8 on the jealousy or the envy level before, and your ego was running rampant. But if you can cultivate your ego to work with you, you might come down to a 5, or you might come down to a teensy 2, because your ego is now like, oh, I'm on board with this. There's power in that. Because the ego is looking for control. That's all it's looking for, is structure and control. And if you can make sure you still feel validated by you instead of other people, you be all right. But no one really knows how to do that.
Yeah, it's
right?
almost the difference between being a slave to it and allowing it to be a tool for you. It's
Well
like
said.
having a great dog that's untrained.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. You love it so much, but sometimes it runs around and it pees and it gets on the couch because you haven't given it any structure. You
Exactly.
haven't attended to it.
And you can't blame
haven't-
it for that.
Exactly. You haven't let it know that this is where exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think once you start working on the different gaps in your ego, you guys can have a more harmonious relationship with your ego,
Yeah.
so that it can be a tool for you into your intuition and all those other things.
Yeah,
Keep it in check.
I like
I
that.
have a friend. We were like talking about polyamory and like, you know, dating outside of like a monogamous relationship or being non-monogamous. And I love that one of the things he was like, it's like, yeah, it's not about ego with that, because a lot of the time you're gonna think it's like, okay, well, you're putting yourself in the center, and it's like, it's not about you though. So being that person where it's like, oh, you're about to go spend time with so and so, it's like, oh, well, you're taking from my time. It's like, it's not about you.
What you gonna
Or
do with
your
your time
time.
while I'm gone?
Yeah.
It's your time.
What are you doing?
What are you doing with
our
your time?
Yeah, because it is that centering of yourself in things, and like you said, being emotionally driven. It's like, yeah, you're driving that ego into this space that's like letting the emotions run rampant. It's like, yeah, it's not about you, and being okay saying that. It's like, oh, this wasn't about me. You're right. Cool. Stepping out of that, I'm good.
That
We're
backseat.
good.
Taking that backseat.
And being okay with that. It's like, it's cool.
completely okay.
Let somebody drive the car.
And it doesn't make you less than.
At all.
I think people think that if I am okay with taking a backseat to someone else's plans at this moment, that I'm saying that I'm less than. No, because I'm still in the front seat of my own intentions. And I think people just don't like to focus on themselves. They want someone else doing it. So when someone says, oh, I'm not going to look at you anymore, I'm going to look at this person, it's like, well, who going to look at me? You better take your ass to a mirror.
And I think,
What?
you know, that's a lot of humility. And
True
I
story.
don't know if that's like the opposite side of what ego is humility. And then, and I lost my train of thought, what I was going to say. But,
That's how life happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Get
Yeah.
up in there. Hear your good voice.
That's give them a pop. Yeah.
So good.
Such a solid
Every
pop.
time she does it.
Every time.
That kind of. Oh, go ahead.
No.
Sorry. No. Go ahead.
That's it, because I don't remember what I was going to say.
I thought you
And I know it was good
I
too.
thought you caught the tail. That kind of what we're talking about leads into one of the questions I had. When you are dealing with jealousy, do you feel that it is a group conversation or a solo conversation? Like, are you having that conversation of, say you're jealous in a relationship or in a friendship, do you think that's something that is your work to do and it's not the other person's, responsibility or even business? Or is that something that you often will bring to that person to kind of work it out together?
I definitely think it's self. Because I think jealousy and envy comes from a place of insecurity. And I'm insecure, so if I'm jealous, I'm afraid that somebody's going to take you away from me. But why aren't you secure in yourself to know or trust that other person that you're with, that that's not going to happen? And if it does, it's okay as well. and it's okay. And then feeling inadequate and wanting what somebody else has, where does that come from? You know, it's like you said, it's being conscious and aware of your own behavior and your thought patterns, really sitting down and trying to identify where is that coming from? Why do I feel this way? Okay, well, I want what she has. Ooh, her curls are popping, her hair is thick. Why my hair don't look like that? You know, or whatever the case is. So, but I'm enough. You know,
as I am.
However I'm made, however I'm divinely created and formed together, I am perfect the way that I am. And I appreciate your beauty for all that it is. I appreciate for you where you are, and I appreciate my beauty for it. So it's just a matter of valuing and appreciating yourself for what you have and what you are. So if you have those insecurities of jealousy, I think it's your own self to work that out, because a person can make you feel, or whomever you're with, can make you feel, you know what, I love you, I care about you, I'm going to spend time with you, you know, and show you all this affection, show you all of this attention. And the moment they step out, I'm insecure now. Where they go? I'm feeling some type of way.
And I can't let my security leave with you.
And you can't.
I just can't.
So I think that it's definitely self, and then if there's any portion of responsibility of the other person that you're with, is just don't feed into that insecurity. That's it. I mean, if you know that the person that you're with is having some type of feeling about something, don't feed into it. Don't give them a reason.
Absolutely.
Kind of just to get on your point as well, I think once you've done that self-work, sometimes it is a conversation that needs to be had with that other person. It's like, you know, I've been feeling this way about X, and I'm realizing it's because you don't hold my hand enough. And so when we're out, I don't feel claimed, and that's important to me. And so if it's, you know, if it's not a big deal to them, unless they're like against hand holding, maybe that's something that they can do to. Thank you.
There you go. Hold hands. That's lovely.
Hold hands. She's like, those are cold. But yeah, once you've done that self-work, you may be able to come to that other person saying, I've done this work, and I feel that if you could help in this way of giving me this type of attention, that I could, you know, I would feel more claimed and feel more part of this. And it's not necessarily their job, but a simple thing like hand holding may shift everything. And so if it's not I mean, sometimes it's like a big ask, and they ask you to like change your whole shit. And I don't think that's fair. But there are, like, especially in our relationship, there are a lot of things that we have conversations on just because it may not be innate to me. It's not, I'm not against it. It's just not my nature, and it's part of hers. And so if she can bring that to me, I'm like, oh, I'm totally fine with incorporating that in what we're doing. And then you can cope.
That's a really good point. I think that's a good point, being able to express it safely.
Having a safe space in your relationship.
Definitely. To say, hey, I'm feeling this type of way, being aware of it. Feeling safe enough and honest enough with yourself where you can share it with somebody else and bring it to their attention. And again, like I said, and then their part being,
don't feed into it.
Don't feed into it. Either encourage it, you know, see where it comes from. And you're either going to encourage it and say, no problem. Yes, I care about you. I care about how you feel. What can I do to make you feel better?
And I think there's a stigma with it too. So if you are on the other side of that conversation where someone in your relationship is coming to you saying like, hey, I'm experiencing jealousy, not feeding into the stigma of, oh, well, you know, you need to get out your feelings. You need to, because a lot of people, as soon as they hear that word, if you articulate how you feel and you use the word jealousy, some people will just shut you down right then and there because they've had negative experiences with people being jealous and being outrageous. So even if you're healthy in your expression of jealousy, even if you're taking responsibility for it, there are other people who aren't so mature in that will be like, oh, well, you know, that's a personal problem. I'm not saying it's not, but we're together. So my problem is going to affect you. So I'm not saying that you have to have a problem with this, but I am saying that if you care about me, work with me. I'm working. I'm not saying you do all of it, but work with me instead of making me work by myself. Yeah, for sure. That's a good question. I like that. Yeah. Also, on the other end of that, though, if you're talking about like taking responsibility for it, in the situation of other people being jealous and then coming to you about it, have y'all had the experience of someone being jealous and then being like, I'm feeling jealous, I need you to do this or that about that? So I can go from there of like, I had a relationship where he didn't like how I dressed. He thought I was too scantily clad. God, what year am I from?
I don't know.
Too scantily clad, I'm sorry. But he was like, you know, you need to wear all them short shorts and them crop tops. When we go out, I need you to be covered up.
Did you meet me like this, yo?
And he liked it when he met me, but then it's like, but he liked it when he met me, so he's assuming that other people will like it when they meet me too.
Well,
as they should.
As they very well should.
But, you know, if you are doing right by me in our relationship, it don't matter how I'm scantily clad or dressed or anything like that. So at that time when I had that conversation with that person I was in a relationship with, I wasn't mature enough to understand that that was not my problem.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, well, I care about them, and so I should take this on as my responsibility. I should be mindful of how they feel. And I think that's the thing with jealousy. If you aren't self-aware enough, you don't know your own boundaries. So that when someone tries to loop you into a Venn diagram of theirs, it's like, no, that's your circle.
Yeah.
This is not the part that I'm a part of. I'm here with you, but you need to deal with that over there. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's another side of the coin that's frightening that people need to be aware of too.
Because jealousy stems from, wanting to be possessive. And like we were just talking about a second ago about like you living your own journey, and we're just kind of sharing space together in our journeys. Mm-hmm. You don't own this body. So you can't tell this body what to put on it. Like if this is how you found it, then either you respect that this is how it's going to be or grow from, or like, yeah, you don't get a say in that. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think we're redefining relationships, because I do think most relationships are based off of some sense of ownership, some sense of you are mine and I am yours, and we are doing this together. And I think in this room, a lot of us are breaking that, or just questioning that, and deciding what are our boundaries as far as my responsibility to you as a partner, and vice versa.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing though that comes with commitment, being possessive, because with commitment we're agreeing and staying accountable to the agreement we've made between each other.
Yes.
Possessing is ownership, and
flat out
you can't colonize this body. This is not a land that you can just take.
You can't stake your flag on it and be like, mine.
And that's the thing, it's not yours. You can share it with me. You're kind of renting space.
I'm giving it to you to share.
Yeah. Enjoy the experience of
it is
this
given.
being. Yeah, and that's the thing.
It is.
Say thank you.
Yeah. Stop judging it and just appreciate it.
That you're in the space. But that's the thing. It's like commitment is one thing. So yeah, should we honor the commitment we've made because we're staying accountable and responsible to that? Yeah, we should. But yeah, no, owning is a whole nother thing.
Whole different ballgame.
Yeah, so it's a different thing to be honored.
Well, it's not ownership at all. It's quite the opposite.
And there's no space in commitment for jealousy, because if you understand that you don't own this being, then you're not jealous of where their time is being spent or how they're using their body. It's like, what are you jealous for? Because you know it's not yours. So what are you losing? You're not losing anything.
That's where you also have to be open to conversation of it, because how people define it in their own minds based off their own experiences is going to be different on a case-by-case basis. And so like in our friendship now relationship, me and her have had to go back and forth just because I'm rational, but I do still experience more jealousy. I'm a 5, she's a 2. And so, for example, when we were friends, I would struggle when there were friendships she had that were close to intensity, the same intensity I felt as ours. So it made me feel like, how do I distinguish between what makes us us and what makes you and them them? And so when we shifted to being in a open relationship, a polyamorous relationship, that unfortunately, but fortunately, still shifted in my head of, I have a different place now. I have a different role. I'm clear on what that role is. And a benefit to our relationship is that while we have commitment, we discuss the arrangement at all times on a monthly basis. We get together like on the month anniversary. We review the contract. We're like, so this worked last month, but I don't think it's gonna work this month.
Reassess.
Yes, let's reassess. You know, what do you want to remove? What do you want to add? And I think people assume that when you get into a relationship, it's supposed to stay how we signed up for it. And what contract do you know that's going to last you forever in that same way? Nothing does. Change is constant. The only thing that's constant is change. And so while I still am experiencing my own growth and my own journey, especially I love the fact of being in an open relationship, because if you had told me 3 years ago that I would be in one, I would have laughed in your face.
You laughed like a year and a half ago.
There we go. Yes.
What does that mean, open relationship?
Open relationship.
Defined by, I'm sure it's different.
It's different for everybody.
So
Yeah. Yeah. So, Chels, what does it mean?
I think it literally means that we are open. we are open to any conversation about anything that you feel at this time. And so the whole reason I was interested in an open relationship is because I want to experience this experience, whatever experience I am in right now, to the fullest extent I can. And so for me to stop what I want to do because I have made this, commitment a year ago to this person or to this whatever, I felt like there was rigidity in that I wasn't comfortable with. And so for me, being open just means that you are allowed to be a full human and express yourself fully. And we are always open to a conversation of whatever we've agreed to shifting at any point and any time. Mm-hmm. And so the whole monthly thing, I mean, it can happen in between.
Yeah, we sometimes check in weekly.
We have like a time where it's like, hey, let's check in, and like we'll like sit and actually have a genuine thing about it.
An intentional conversation.
Yeah, exactly. But if we at any point feel a certain way about anything, we have an open dialogue that is it's without any type of
judgment.
Yeah, it's so, even if it hurts, we listen openly.
Yes.
And so we never guard ourselves in it, even
because I know she wouldn't hurt me intentionally. Even if her experience, if I feel or interpret it as hurt, I know that's not the intention. And then that gives me the responsibility of sorting through things on my side. But I know that it's safe to talk to her either way.
Right. We feel, and that's what I like about our open relationship. I still feel kept. And so I don't feel trapped, I felt kept. Mm-hmm. And so no matter what, I know she's got me. I know she has my heart. And so when we have these things that may hurt my feelings or, vice versa, we can talk about the fact that, hey, that hurt my feelings. I might need some time. I might need this. I might need to talk more about this later. Mm-hmm. But to me, that's the openness of it, is that we are always open to discuss whatever we're feeling without any type of like, oh, I can't say this, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, she might leave me,
Yeah.
And so open relationship, like many people, they think other people are welcome into your relationship.
That also is
that is a part
but
of it.
But it doesn't have to be.
Just.
And so it's not always the case. So from my definition, it's more about the feeling of how your life is going to be rather than who you're hanging out with or who you're
I think some people
with
when they do open relationships, the focus is on other people. I think our open relationship allows the focus to be on ourselves. And so I think that's the benefit of our open relationship, is that even though I am a 5, my biggest interest, my biggest concern is me. And I want her biggest interest and her biggest concern to be her. And because I can focus on me and she can focus on herself, if there are other people who can bless our experience, I don't see it as a threat to my relationship. I see her evolving further. And while I don't always, I'll be honest, sometimes it scares me, sometimes it hurts me, but I see it genuinely as her experience developing her further to the woman that she's supposed to be. And I get to be with that woman. So this person came in, they blessed her, they taught her something about herself. They allowed, from my experience in being with her while they were teaching her, for me to grow too. Awesome. And then from there, me and her can talk about any other details of like, this made me feel this way or this made me feel that way, while still taking ownership and responsibility on my side, but not limiting her to her growth and her opportunity. It could be a lot of fun.
It's quite mature.
I'm growing. Jesus. What about you, man?
No, I agree. It's the whole thing of like, I'm a whole one and you're a whole one. So like, let's two share this journey together. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So that's why it's like there's no space. Well, add as you add. But that's what it is. It's like we're only adding whole numbers here. Like we're not adding fractions.
Not halves.
Yeah.
We're not halves of anything.
Or thirds or 7/3
carry
of
the 1
anything.
divide by 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because that's the thing. That's where people are like, well, like, if you add a person, it's a subtraction. It's like not if you were whole already. Because you will still be one. Regardless. We're adding to each other. We're only doing additions. Right. So if you feel at any point that it is a person that's subtracting from, then that's the conversation. Mm-hmm. But then that's what we're saying, that we're open to having a conversation. We're
exactly.
Like, I don't know if I really like that. And it's like, well, why? Oh, well, cool. This is a safe space.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting me to share why. And after I tell you why, it doesn't make you obligated to do anything.
No.
You get to choose if you do something. And that means a lot more to me, because to me, that's almost the difference between being wanted and being needed in a relationship. If I need you, I need water, I need air, I need food. It doesn't matter if I like it or not. I need it. So I'm going to deal with it. But if I tell you these things and then you choose to because you want to make adjustments, that lets me know you want me. You could easily do without me, but you chose to shift not because you felt pressured, but because you care. And that means so much more than any type of obligation.
What I just told you and taking into consideration
Absolutely.
adjustments.
See, I think to me that's the thing about open relationship is like keeping like choice kind of like, but
On
like
the
putting
forefront.
yourself like first is like, yeah, at first I have choice. So just know I'm choosing you. I don't need you. I mean, I want you sometimes. I don't, because that's
She
the
pressed up her lips.
Because that's the thing, people forget that it's like you are not needed. Like I want you.
And that has to be
here.
okay.
Yeah, just like you don't need me. Like you don't need me.
Please
promise.
don't. Yeah.
Like you want me here. So also understanding where jealousy and envy plays into that of like, well, I need. No, you don't. You need to drink your water daily. Get out into some sun, do a walk. Yeah, like you need. Yeah, but. That's the thing. So it's like, yeah, when we're coming together, understanding it's like, well, I'm going to come first and I always choose what's best for me and those around me. Well, cool. If that's the type of person you are, well, then I need someone like that on my team. Well, cool. Well, let's build teams. Cool. Well, now we got an empire. Cool.
Exactly.
Because that's what
We're
the
good now.
addition is.
Good. Cool. Yeah, good. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. So, how about, have y'all experienced jealousy or envy even like in work? So not even just relationship and friendships, but like in wanting to get to a certain level of lifestyle or ability. So if you have a specific craft or career path and you're like, dang, so-and-so keeps getting promoted over me, or so-and-so keeps getting more followers or more opportunities. Because even like example with this radio show, this is a big step for me and I love doing it, but I do notice other people who are doing podcasts. It's trendy right now. Everybody feels like their opinion should be heard, their voice should be heard. And I think the only thing that continues to soothe me is that I don't look at life from a perspective of lack. I don't see it as only so many of us can do this. I think different strokes for different folks. So there might be 100 different people doing podcasts, but there are millions of people who need a different dose of that, or they might like all of them. And so if you can perceive things from a place of, no, it's not just only room for 5 of us to be successful here. There's room for plenty of us to be successful in our own niches. It can be a benefit for everyone. There's an opportunity for everyone. But it took me a long time to get to that point because I was a hater a long time ago. But I was a hater because I was like, well, why not me? Because it comes back to that envy question of why don't I have that many followers or why don't I have this many things? And it's like, now I'm doing the work and I don't ask myself the question so much of why not. I tell myself soon. I don't question it. It's just soon. And I give myself a reassuring statement versus doubting it. Yeah. But have y'all had any experiences in work? Because I know that's another place that people struggle too.
I'm more like Chelsea and say, okay, if I see something because I'm on like the 1 to 2 level, I celebrate you.
Yeah.
Congratulations. You put in the work. You definitely deserve this. You know, big ups to you. Okay, let me evaluate then because I do want that, or if I do see something like that and I do want that, okay, what can I do then to achieve the same or more or different or whichever. So it's more so I admire it, I respect it, I appreciate it. Cool.
And then you internalize and focus on yourself.
What can I learn? You know, push me forward, progress me, encourage me, inspire me. Great, awesome.
So you take the envy and you use it as motivation.
If you want to call it, take the envy, sure.
for lesser words, take the envy. Because I was thinking about that because of a conversation we had on the spot, that envy really can be motivation. So like we were talking about earlier, if you're having the opportunity of being like, well, why not me? Instead of saying it like, why not me? It's, why not me? Right. It's all about perspective and it's all about the inflection that you use it with. How do you talk to yourself? If you're like, why not me? You're already deciding that it's not you. Yeah. But if you say, why not me? It's the opportunity of, oh, so it could be. Yeah. And then you start to go in that direction because your mind is focused in that trajectory.
Somebody had asked me that, and I think I made a post about like healthy envy. Because it's like, yeah, like you have that healthy competition where it's like, yeah, I see you, and it's like this, damn, well, what I need to do to whatever that level is, like, damn, I like the shine. If you want the shine, what you need to do to get the shine. You like the money, what you need to do to get the money. Because that is all it is. It's like we're all capable. Yeah. And I do think that there are like social structures in place and like systematic things that kind of limit us in different ways. So it's like being honest with ourselves on that level. Because there are some things that always will be out of our control. But then it's like, well, what can you control? And like just harness that
what
energy.
What can I bring? What personal? What are my gifts and talents and purpose?
Because it's still like a law of attraction thing. So it's like if we're gonna focus on the systematic instead of like, okay, well this is gonna keep me down. It's like, okay, I see you challenge. I can still level up, because that's at the end of the day what you should be looking at it as. It's like, well, how can I level up so I can go ahead and be with you instead of behind? If that's what you're feeling,
if that's what you're feeling, and if that's what you want, because I think sometimes people get jealous or envious, and they really don't want to do anything with it. They just feel that. They just want to feel it, and you're entitled. You want to be big mad, and you're entitled to be big mad.
I don't want to say big mad. Have you guys seen the movie? It's all about that. It was a remake, and I cannot think of it right now.
What is it about?
The guy who played Jesus.
Which Jesus?
The guy who played Jesus.
Mel Gibson's Jesus. Kevin. Yeah, and he did a movie, a remake. It's about the book, and he had a whole family. He came from a humble, poor upbringing. He had a best friend who was really rich and had everything at his beck and call. Yeah. And he worked hard, so the friend who didn't have anything, he worked hard. He fell in love. He has a beautiful wife, a beautiful family, and his friend is just like, I want that. I'm jealous of him, to the point where he wanted to kill him
and take all his things.
Yeah, take his spot. So basically, that's what he did. He framed him up, and the poor friend, went to jail for like 30 years. And so this whole time, what is it called? This whole time.
Is this based on a true story?
It's on a book.
This is a good book.
It's like from the 1800s.
It is, and it was remade. So this whole time he's in prison, he's plotting and planning his return.
To still take over his life
back?
No, to come back.
The
Count of Monte Cristo.
Yes.
Oh,
thank you.
This book is at my mom's house. Yes, I do.
Count of Monte Cristo.
My brother read that book.
Your brother. Jealousy and envy.
But I never wanted to read that book. See, it comes
I didn't
back.
really want
I didn't want to do it. I didn't really want it.
I didn't really want it.
So it's all about that. It's really all about his friend who had everything.
Yeah.
Money, status, position, looks, and everything, but still wanted what his humble friend had.
Absolutely. Because sometimes we also want the attention. We might not want all of the work that comes with getting what that person has. We might not also want the responsibility of having what that person has.
They don't want the work.
They don't want all the work or the responsibility of gaining it or keeping it. But the attention and the status is very attractive. Social media.
That brings me to a question then. Actually, this led right into it. So, is anyone familiar with the concept of penis envy?
I've heard such things.
You know a little something about it.
Yeah.
What is your experience of it?
Well, okay, so
my understanding of penis envy, obviously a man has a bigger penis than another, so he's envious of his size.
So penis envy comes from Freud, his theory of development, so psychosexual development, and that women, once we become knowledgeable about how our bodies are, we become envious of the fact that we don't have a penis.
Yes.
So we live our whole lives knowing that inferior to men because they have a penis and we do not.
No, we do not.
And I only brought it up because we were talking about jealousy and envy in relationships, and I have had former paramours. I love this new term. Former paramours.
What are paramours?
My dogs were in my face. So I would never.
I know what you mean. I feel you.
I do.
All this long hair.
Yes, my former paramours. Yes.
I'm doing it from now on forever.
Former lovers.
My scalp is in the way.
Get these
My suitors.
Get these edges together. That have told me they felt like I had penis envy. But I love how we were just talking about the idea of envy being kind of rooted in things where it's no, it's just the idea of. So I feel like, and there was another psychologist, because Freud is wrong about all things.
He is. He is. Don't listen to Freud.
He's so wrong. Oh my God. No, I studied him, and then it was like this, bullshit on that.
Just because he came from the perspective always of everything sexual.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
it made sense.
back
His
to
a lot.
men.
Yeah. Also as a white male, so.
Oh, he
that
didn't
only
believe that
perspective.
like clitoral orgasms were things that real women would have. Real women don't have.
Made up women have them?
No, real women only come internally. Was Freud's theory? Yes. So
that's putting too much power on the
that's
penis.
the basis on how much we believe in Freud.
Yeah.
Okay. But
You lost me, Freud.
yeah, a long time ago. But Karen Horney comes back, who's another psychologist, who's basically like, if you look at social structures and the things that men are allotted just naturally, like women could not own land, so there ain't shit I can do, or I can't get an education, can't remarry, all these different things. It's like, I mean, you thinking we're inferior is really based on the system that we live
second-class citizens.
Yeah, so I want
property.
the grace of being able to walk down the street confidently, like it seems like men do, or different things like that. So when I think on it, I just wanted to know how y'all felt, but I think my experience has just been like, I just like the visuals of being the aggressor and being a dom, and I know like shared that with a few people on my journey with that, but just being in that role of being a top, let's say. But it's I don't want the penis, because you were saying like not really wanting the work. I don't really want a penis. I don't want these problems.
I don't want it.
Trust you.
You
I
want
am
the
fine.
power and the position.
Look, this one's
Such a
just
sensitive little organ. Not little. It didn't have to be.
Oh yeah,
But it's such a sensitive thing.
the vulva is like 8,000 times
You
better.
know.
Like I'm great.
Yeah.
We're not going to compare nerve endings here, but truly though, I think it's the idea, like you said, it was a socialized concept of, it's not just the actual penis itself. It's what all the power, the status that comes with it. That, if anything, is to be envied, because it had a lot to do with safety. Men were not as frequently out here being attacked for their penises. Women are being, but till this day, women are still, if I walk the wrong street, someone will be like, well, why were you out there by yourself? You're a woman. Why are you wearing that? Oh, you had a see-through shirt on. You should have expected
With
that.
all that makeup on your face.
It's like, oh, but shouldn't people have self-control? Shouldn't people have human decency?
People have
Choices. And so I think that's something that we have to take. So I haven't been told that I have penis envy. I've been told I have big dick energy.
Oh, that's a whole different thing.
That's a whole different thing. And now I like to shift it. You know, big clit energy. You know, I ain't got a dick. I ain't got a, you know, big clit energy.
Yeah.
What was it? We were at your house. We were talking about what is it?
Literally, clitoris.
Literally, clitorally, and the Lit Clit Crew.
Lit Clit Crew.
You know, Lit Clit Crew, LCC, Incorporated. We're gonna start a business. You start throwing up gang signs with it. But truly, I think it's a level of confidence and feeling entitled to your space in the world that is what people would consider big dick or big clit energy. As to, I take up space, but I deserve to. I own the space I take up. And I don't think that's based off of a gender. I think that's based off of a personality. Yeah.
Women almost have to prove that they deserve to take up that space, and men are given it until they show that they don't deserve it.
Exactly.
And so it's like an innocent until proven guilty, but we are guilty. We have to prove innocence.
Absolutely. And I think that's just how we also are brought up in the first place. A lot of the double standards, some against men, very few, but some against men, and we have to be mindful of all of those.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you feel that men and women are equal? In the sense of, not that they deserve to have more power and position, but there are certain things that men are designed, created, built to do, perform other than women. I mean, differently from women.
I honestly do in a way. I actually think that women should be in charge because of the way, and I'm not sure if this was, we've gone too many thousands of years of being socially domesticated and conditioned to know if it's innate or if it's learned. At this point, the way women are, the way that the general woman is very, you know, concerned and like open and things like that. So I think a lot of the traits that women have would make them greater leaders. The way that most men are domesticated make them very selfish leaders. And I think per the domestication we've currently had, that women would be better in positions of higher power when we are trying to unite nations and move the progress forward and all that stuff. I think that we are better at that because we've been conditioned to be that way, and because it was almost a survival tactic of you need these skills in order to navigate the world. And so I don't know if it's necessarily like it was always like that and it should be like that. I think we've been domesticated in certain ways, and so we've built different skill sets or different cheat codes, and certain cheat codes will help you in certain situations compared to others.
I think that I agree with that to the point of if women can get out of the mindset of competition. I would not trust a woman leader who is still in the enslaved mindset of lack, of I need to prove myself. I would trust and love to have a woman leader who was like, oh no, whether you acknowledge it or not, I run this. I got it.
Strong
and it's
black woman.
Strong black, I'm
Michelle,
not.
Come on, Michelle.
Can I respond?
Go ahead, Kenny.
Quickly.
Wait, hold on. You see how when the women get to talking too much about women things and women empowerment? I just had to do it. Go ahead, Kenny. Go ahead.
She made a very good point. Chelsea, I agree with you. I think we're all equal. I think we need to be equal. We need to start treating ourselves. But I don't think that in leadership, I do believe women are leaders, and they're great leaders. They can be. Well, I don't think we should be leading in the same environment. I think, I'm not saying the woman has to be leading in the house. That's not where I'm going. I know you guys want to attack me with that one. But what I'm saying is there are certain things that men are just built to lead. We're built to lead. And certain things we're built to manage because of who we are. Maybe it's the testosterone, estrogen thing. I don't know.
Can you give an example?
Oh, you didn't ask me for an example.
Yeah, we would need an example. Yeah.
I definitely think women should be leading businesses. Because of the honesty they bring to them. Politics, possibly. Possibly. I got some reasons on both sides why a man probably shouldn't be leading politics. But I think that definitely when it comes to managing businesses, I think women definitely are built for that. Because it's compassion, the energy, and the enthusiasm, and the level of detail that they focus when it comes to the business. And that can transfer over to many things, even in sciences. In sciences and in IT as well. So there are many places I think women can lead. I don't think we most necessarily, it's our best place for men to lead in those environments. But it's just my opinion.
No, and I don't disagree. I think there are certain people for certain roles.
I was gonna say,
gender put aside, I think there are certain people for certain roles.
I think I agree with that more.
Yeah, there are women who I would just not trust. As far as I can throw them. And there are men who I would elect to these things. And then there are men who I would be like, burn them at the stake. And there are women who I'd be like, put her in that spot.
Absolutely.
And so I
agree with chief right now.
Yeah. So I think it's important to be able to balance in between because it really is personality based. But I agree. And at this point, it's not even just equality. It's more equity. Because at this point, we aren't at a place of equality. There are too many domesticated ideas in our systems, in our minds, in our social structures that we're not equal. Even at this point, even with the opportunities, women still get paid less, all of these things. What we're looking for is equity. So if you are aware that these things aren't fair, what can we do to balance the field? What can we do? And so I think that's the point that we're at in being jealous of each other or mindful. And I think to the extent of men sometimes get frustrated with women because they're not always, they stereotype us as always being in our feelings or being the more emotional ones. But I think there's some envy that we get to express our feelings and that there's a lot of pent up feelings that men don't get to express other than anger or aggressive feelings. And so they get frustrated with us because it's like, well, why don't I get to? You over here crying all over the place. I wanted to cry for 2 years, but I ain't cried. And it's like, well,
yeah,
we need to create a space for them too.
Now you're a soft dude.
Yeah.
Now you're, questionable.
The worst thing, obviously.
Yeah, obviously you have to throw the whole man away. And women, we got to get better about that. We need to start creating spaces where men can feel things.
Absolutely.
We have to. We got to stop. Oh, you cry. I need a man who's not soft. But then at the same time, you need a man who is in tune with your feelings. Like, what do you want? What do you want?
You don't know what you want.
Exactly. We are. Truly. You see how we get off on tangents? Okay, so
But it still came back to her whole thing of
Penis envy, truly.
Envious of the whole male.
Of back and forth.
Well, the last thing I'll say on my personal beliefs is that, like, I feel like we're so, like, domesticated and constructed that we forget, like, the binary really is, like, to a biological level, because there are people who don't see themselves as men or women and don't want to be seen in that framework and only want to be judged off of what they're able to do and who they are.
Their abilities.
But that's the thing. It's like everybody's body is capable of the same thing. Everyone literally does have estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. So I don't think that there are certain people who are made to do certain things, because it's like we all have different levels of the same thing. Like there are men who do have estrogen. That's why you have men who do have breasts or have vulvas, or women who are born with like testes. Like these are real people.
It's a spectrum.
Yeah, so you
It's
can't
not
say it's
across
like,
the
oh,
board.
you don't have testosterone, because it's like, well, I really do. I don't look like it, but I have actually more than you would. But you would have to test me to find that out. So it's like we do get bound down to like.
We get generalized.
Yeah,
We get
but it is a
generalized.
social. I mean, it does kind of at a macro level come down to like how we're run socially. So yeah.
True story. I hear that. Well, unfortunately, we need to go ahead and slowly wind down.
What?
I know, this is how it happens. Now, you know, we'll keep talking after this, but unfortunately for y'all, and that's why you got to follow us on Instagram. However, I would like to go ahead and do our signature moment of taking a beat. Kenny, you got me? Kenny got me. Okay. So we're going to take a beat, and this beat is essentially entitled, I'm Enough. And so part of this is me just speaking to you from the nature of, it's time for you to actually acknowledge the fact that you got to stop peeking through other people's windows, and you need to start looking at your own doors and opening your own doors. You over here worried about what is for you or isn't for you, but you get to create what is for you. So you are more than enough. You always have been. You always will be. It's not based off someone else looking to you and validating that for you. It's for you to finally look at yourself and validate that for yourself. It's no one else's job. No one else is going to do it. No one else is going to do it better than you. Someone else, your partner, your family member, your friends can love the mess out of you, but it's never going to be enough. You will always start comparing yourself to other people until you realize that you are built exactly the way you're supposed to be. And if there are things that you want to change, if there's growth that you want to happen, it's going to. With the effort you're willing to put into it, with the love you're willing to put into it, with the consistency. It can't be like a diet. You do it for a little bit and then you stop. You have to continue to live the lifestyle of I value myself. And so this is an awesome quote from Jennifer James and talking about jealousy that I want us all to kind of close out on of, jealousy is simply and clearly the fear that you do not have value. Jealousy scans for evidence to prove the point that others will be preferred and rewarded more than you. There is only one alternative, only one, self-value. If you cannot love yourself, you will not believe that you are loved. You will always think it's a mistake or luck. Take your eyes off others and turn the scanner within. Find the seeds of your jealousy. Clear the old voices and experiences. Put all the energy into building your personal and emotional security. Your personal and emotional security. Then you will be the one others envy, and you can remember the pain and reach out to them. So it's not the idea of becoming on top so that you can, you can stun on them. It's the idea of getting up there so you can lead a path, you can lead a way. That's the whole purpose. We're all walking each other home here. So we need to do that for one another. And so while I'm still at a 5, I started off at an 8, we're slowly moving on down. We got a strong 6 here. We have teensy 2s over here, but we're all learning from each other and planting these seeds. So please plant seeds with us. So I thank you all. Thank you for tuning into this episode. I want to thank my awesome guest, the awesome Chels, Inquisitive Chels on Instagram, at Inquisitive Chels. Please follow her. Awesome Glenda over here, Glenda_GP on Instagram. Glenda, do you have anything you want to shout out?
No.
Not yet, but keep a lookout because she is an awesome travel agent. She will be going live with her website soon. So if you are a person looking to get out of here, which we all are, want to get away, you're going to want to take a look at Glenda's site. You're going to want to. And we'll make sure that on EnergyNMotion we post when it's live. And then Sir Dame Amina, so Sir Dame _Amina. Tell them what you got going.
July 27th, we have the Rebel show in Fort Worth, so that's really cool.
Art
and
show.
then, yes, 2 art shows, and then August 15th is the Raw Dallas show.
Yes.
So both are on my page. Again, she says Sir Dame _Amina, just for more information.
Absolutely. And so I need to encourage you all. Our next episode is going to be August 1st. I'm sure you want to know what the topic is going to be, right? you got to follow me on Instagram. I'm not going to give it away on here. So that is the number 3, the letter N, the word motion. That's 3NMOTION on Instagram. So follow us so that you can be a part of the conversation. Please know, I love to talk, if you can't tell on here. So engage so that we can continue to grow together. Make sure that you tune in tomorrow for 50 Shades with Jay on KMWI Media. And I just have to thank you all for tuning in this evening and letting us bare our souls. So here on Energy and Motion, I'm thankful to have you. I'm thankful to be me. And please remember, you feel what you feel, you still deserve to heal. Peace. Peace.